Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Wrestling with the Apester. I am the Apester himself, of course, here in the game room as usual. Here, well, I shouldn't say as usual because usually I'm all over the place. I'm in the game room. I'm in my girlfriend's car. I'm at somewhere else, you know. So this is my next episode, obviously, of this podcast. The last episode, if you didn't see it, go ahead and check it out. Hear it, rather, listen to it, whatever you want to call it. Again, coming from the YouTube world, I feel like I'm going to say this forever. I'm coming from the YouTube world, probably never going to get used to it, but last episode was the last part of the little saga that I had talking about the Brothers of Destruction and Paul Bearer and Undertaker and Kane and all that. And so today is the review for SummerSlam 2023. SummerSlam's in the books. I know it's late that I'm uploading this, but yesterday I was at a party. Today is, by the way, is Monday, August 7th. 7 months that me and my girlfriend have been together. It's really cool, and it's funny because she said, "Oh, you didn't get me flowers?" I was like, "Nope, didn't get you flowers at all." Little does she know that there are flowers in the car right now as we speak. She's outside warming up the car to go to work right now, so when she leaves, I'm going to go to the car and get those right away, those flowers, put them in a vase, and also got some spicy sweet chili chips, Doritos. So it's probably her favorite Dorito, to be honest with you. So anyway, sorry, clear my throat. I just finished eating. Bear with me here. So we're doing the review today for SummerSlam. It was a pretty cool pay-per-view. Some of the matches were and I would say one or two of the matches were, holy crap, it was really cool. So the card consisted of Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Undisputed Universal Championship. Sorry, I'm clearing my throat. Again, bear with me here. I just finished eating. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. Asuka versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair in a triple threat match for the WWE Women's Championship. And spoiler alert, none of these three walked out as the champion. Well, one of them did for a couple seconds. Hang on just 1 minute, guys. I gotta take care of this. Whew, sorry about that. I had to... I'm out of breath. Give me a second. I had to step out for a second there. I had to go outside. Anywho, I don't know where I left off here, but I'll just restart here. So basically, the lineup for SummerSlam was Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the Undisputed Universal Championship. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. A triple threat match: Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Women's Championship. Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship. Ricochet versus Logan Paul. Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey, an MMA rules match. And the SummerSlam Battle Royal. The pay-per-view overall was alright, I guess. There are a lot of shocking moments in the pay-per-view. A lot of them not so much. But definitely the first match came to no surprise, at least to me. The first match of the night was Ricochet versus Logan Paul, and as you can tell, we're getting started right away, no wasting time here. This was a cool match, I guess, until the end. So basically, to sum it all up, some guy in a black hoodie came out and he basically had some brass knuckles, and he slipped it right over to Logan Paul so we could put it on. The referee didn't see it. Logan Paul hit him with the right hand, the Iron Fist right hand, whatever the hell that's in his hand. Hit Ricochet right in the head, knocked him out clean. He put him down for the pin, 1, 2, 3, and he slipped the brass knuckles right back into his pants like nothing happened. Logan Paul wins by a fluke. If you're wondering, I'm reading this off of BleacherReport.com. Basically, the match started. Logan Paul was the first one to come out to a wave of boos, and obviously Ricochet came out next. There was also a reference to Braun Strowman, which is Ricochet's partner, who is out on an injury at the moment. I'm not going to say former partner because I don't know, but I know he's out with an injury because so Logan Paul referenced him by doing the power slam that Braun Strowman normally does. Just mocking Ricochet, basically. So the two men met in the middle of the ring and talked some trash. Ricochet slapped the taste out of Paul's mouth by taking him down with a head scissor to send him out of the ring. So the YouTuber was able to gain the upper hand for a few moments by using some underhanded tactics. He even taunted Samantha Irvin, who was the ring announcer of Ricochet's fiance. By the way, at the end of this match, there was a recording that somebody had put, WWE had put up on their page, their Instagram page, and it showed Samantha Irvin, the announcer. She like didn't want to say it, but she had no other choice but to say, "And your winner, Logan Paul." She said it with confidence, but at the same time, deep down within, she said she didn't want to say it, you know. It's pretty cool how Samantha got involved in this in a way. I wish Samantha would have said something. I wish she would have like opened up and like opened her mouth and said something to Logan Paul. That would have been pretty cool, but they traded control several times throughout the match. Paul focused on getting heel heat, while the one and only was trying to pop the crowd with high-risk maneuvers. The fans were eating it up. But yeah, they did have a lot of high-risk maneuvers throughout the night. They had a lot of top rope maneuvers, and if you guys don't know, they are they were Saturday night. They were amping up. If every superstar that jumps off the top rope, we'll donate. I think it's $5,000 to charity, and that's a pretty cool gig they got going there. So, they were given a lot of time and packed in plenty of memorable spots while still telling a story along the way. This was the best case scenario for this match. One of Paul's buddies slit some brass knuckles, and he nailed Ricochet with a huge right hand to steal the win. The outcome may have been cheap, but everything else worked. They graded it an A-. It was a cool match, honestly, but there are notable moments here. Paul was wearing the headband. He clearly learned something from The Miz. The way Paul reacted when Ricochet faked him out with a dive was great. How is that Paul can already throw a better working punch than Shane McMahon? Oh dear. Paul made made good use of some fundamentals and basic moves during this match to show he had been learning and not just focusing on big spots. The Spanish fly spot from the apron was cool, but they almost didn't land it. And Paul got ridiculous height on his springboard frog splash. Like I said, it was a really cool match to see that, Ricochet and Logan Paul. I freaking hate Logan Paul, but that's the point of it. That's the point. You're supposed to hate Logan Paul. He's a heel, you know. And Ricochet, being the high flyer that he really is, he has so much, dare I say this now, I mean, potential. Even though the potential's already there, you know, it's there. He's here. Like, I would say thus far, this is his prime, kinda. But man, Logan Paul can put on a good match. I will admit that. I do not like Logan Paul. I freaking despise this guy. But I will admit he puts on a really good match, regardless of who he's in the ring with. So it was a pretty cool match. That takes us to probably my favorite match of the night. Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. The beginning of the match, basically Brock Lesnar took control of it. Well, he was in control about 85% of the time. Every now and then, Cody would get a punch or two in and, you know, get some offense, but if that's the right word to use. But yeah, basically it was a mauling, honestly. Brock Lesnar just toying with Cody around the ring. It was a really cool match because Cody came back and he came back hard. Because the ending of the match saw 3 crossroads, 1, 2, 3. The match was over. At the end of the match, it was an unplanned moment. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar shook hands. Brock Lesnar making the move first, so he basically went up to Cody. They stared each other face to face. Cody had the look on his eyes like kind of scared in a way, like damn, like what are you gonna do to me? Like please don't kill me. But then they basically go head to head, literally nose to nose, and Brock Lesnar extends his hand out to him. Cody extends his out. They shake hands, they hug, and Brock Lesnar raises his hand and he walks away as Cody celebrates the victory. I thought Brock Lesnar was going to attack him, but thank God he didn't, because finally hopefully this story is over between Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes, and now Cody Rhodes can focus on finishing the story, which I'm guessing that's what's going to happen tonight on Monday Night Raw, is that he's going to say he's going to finish the story and then something else is probably going to come up. But I'll tell you my prediction in a minute. But going back to, I think I forgot to mention this. I'm uploading this now because I was at a party yesterday, so I was not able to get this review, this pay-per-view review in. So I do apologize for that. I am getting this out on a Monday. But hey, better late than never, I guess, right? But anyway, back to the topic. I thought that was that's what I was talking about before I had stepped out for a minute. I didn't remember what I was talking about, but if I didn't mention that already, I do apologize. But yeah, I'm sorry that the review is coming out a day or two later, but it is what it is. But it was a really cool match. But let me tell you my prediction. What's going to happen? So I think LA Knight, which we'll get into him later, LA Knight is going to win the Royal Rumble. He's going to challenge Seth Rollins or whoever the world heavyweight champion is. Kind of hope it's Damian Priest, because what I'm about to say. So what I'm about to say is, let's say it is Damian Priest versus LA Knight for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. LA Knight wins the title, and that's it. The rest is history. LA Knight, he celebrates a victory. The crowd goes mental for it. And then for Elimination Chamber, we have Cody Rhodes win the Chamber match to face Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship, and Cody finally dethrones Roman Reigns and finishes the story. Let me tell you why cashing in would be a problem if LA Knight won the Royal Rumble. So, hear me out here. So let's say LA Knight were to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, right? And let's say Damian Priest still has the briefcase. If LA Knight wins the championship at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Championship, Damian Priest, everyone's going to expect Damian Priest to come out and pull off sort of the Heist of the Century 2.0 and win the whole damn thing. Unless he cashes, the only way this could work is if he cashes in and fails. But thing is, it's like, we've already seen, I think, 2 failed cash-in attempts from the men's side the past couple of years, and we need a victory over here. So I highly believe that Damian Priest will win the World Heavyweight title eventually. I don't know when, but I think it'll happen eventually. Perfect timing. Maybe it'll be Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at Survivor Series, and Seth Rollins gets beaten, and then enough to where Damian Priest will come out and cash in, maybe, potentially. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but anyway, going back to why cashing in is not a good idea after LA Knight wins it, because I figured if LA Knight wins it and Damian Priest cashes in and wins it, then the crowd is just going to absolutely boo the hell out of Damian Priest. And that's a good thing for his heel character, but at the same time, I don't think they should do that, because everyone's going to be pretty pissed off. So that's my philosophy. LA Knight's going to win the Royal Rumble, face whoever the world champion is at that point at WrestleMania, actually beat them for the world title. And then Cody Rhodes will win the Elimination Chamber to go on to face Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Championship, and Cody Rhodes will finish the story, and not only that, dethrone Roman Reigns. Anyway, going back to the Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar match at SummerSlam a couple nights ago. Basically Brock Lesnar mauled Cody Rhodes. I don't even know why I should even read all this, but Brock Lesnar, for a good amount of time, kept throwing Cody Rhodes outside of the ring and hurting him and giving him an F5 or 2 out on the outside, and he would roll back in the ring. And Cody Rhodes just kept coming into the ring at the count of 9. He almost got counted out. I can't tell you how many times. At one point, he F5'd him through the announce table as well. The crowd cheered louder and Rhodes beat the count back into the ring again, beating a 9 count. It just kept going basically, and like I said, I'm just reading through this. Eventually, Cody Rhodes, he hit the 3 crossroads, 1, 2, 3. The match was over. Like I said, about 90% of the time, Brock Lesnar was in control of the match. They rated it a B+. Brock Lesnar, it says right here, Lesnar always seems to have an early match if he's not in the main event, and that is very true. And speaking of that, I'm guessing Brock Lesnar was not in the first match tonight because the first match was Logan Paul and Ricochet, and there's a reason behind that. Maybe that's why Brock Lesnar was not first in line in the pay-per-view. So Logan Paul basically had to go on first because Logan Paul took a plane out to Dallas, Texas immediately after the match in his ring gear and everything. He took a plane to Dallas, Texas to go watch the fight with his brother Jake Paul. Don't know how the hell he made it on time, but he made it on time, which is pretty crazy. Apparently this says here the pyro setup for Rhodes' entrance felt smaller than usual. I'm not going to read through this crap, but Rhodes made a big show out of getting to his feet after almost getting counted out. Yeah, see, this is basically all stuff I covered, but anyway, going on to the next match is the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal. Now, guys, am I the only one that thinks that this is the most pointless Battle Royal ever? Then again, it's not the first time they've had pointless Battle Royals. I don't know what to think of it. I mean, it was just your average Battle Royal. The only notable part of it is the winner and Omos returned. That was basically it. I mean, everybody, you come from quote-unquote commercial, I'm going to say. And everybody was in the ring. You know, you had Matt Riddle. You had, I think, the Viking Raiders, I think, were in there. I'm 100% sure. So many people in there. It's unbelievable. So the people that actually got entrances, the first one was LA Knight. He came out to the hugest ovation on the face of God's green earth. Hugest ovation I've ever, one of the hugest ovations ever. He's getting over almost like Stone Cold Steve Austin. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, like, damn. Sorry, there's an envelope I got to put in the mailbox. My girlfriend gave me an envelope. She goes, oh, put it in the mailbox for me. Oh, okay. No, I don't want it to fold or bend or anything like that because I don't know what's in here. So, feels like it's a card or money or some sort. But anyway, Slim Jim Battle Royal. So, I think it was a pointless Battle Royal. But in a way, I feel like it could serve as a story. And I'm going to tell you why. So, basically, the match was about a star, and then all of a sudden the MVP comes out and he goes, whoa, you can't have this Battle Royal with one more man. And that's when I was like, oh boy, Omos. He introduced Omos. Omos comes out. He eliminates like a good portion of the people in there. Eventually, everybody in the match teamed up to, it was everybody and their mothers were teaming up to eliminate him. Eventually they did. People got eliminated here and there, and eventually, oh, by the way, AJ Styles also got his own entrance as well. And then it was Omos. Anyway, back to the, sorry to fall off track here, but so eventually there were 2 people left. It was LA Knight and Sheamus. And I was like, yep, Sheamus is going to win. No, but I was like, nope, it's not going to happen. LA Knight's not going to win. All of a sudden, LA Knight, next thing you know, LA Knight eliminates him. And that's it. LA Knight is the winner of the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal. And I'm going to tell you why this could be a good thing. It ties into the Royal Rumble. What I just said about him winning the Royal Rumble, why I think he should win the Royal Rumble is because, first of all, he's over like Rover, man. He is. I just scratched my hand just now. He is over like Rover. This man is like, he's getting like Stone Cold Steve Austin pops. Like, I'm not even kidding. Number 2, it's a Battle Royal. It's basically the child of the Royal Rumble. And what's cool about this is that LA Knight could play this off as like, hey, I'm Mr. Royal Rumble or something. I don't know. I'm Mr. Battle Royal. Like, I'm good at these matches. I'm like a master at it. So him winning the Rumble in this case, saying something like, if he comes out one night and says something along those lines, you know, it could be really cool. But yeah, that could really push him to the moon if he wins the Royal Rumble, and I really do hope he wins the Royal Rumble next year, 2024. A lot of people got eliminated in this match, though. Apollo Crews, JD McDonough, Rick Boogs, all eliminated by Omos. The final four, by the way, were Sheamus, Bronson Reed, LA Knight, and AJ Styles. Oh, and I also almost forgot, AJ Styles was on the outside of the ropes, and Karrion Kross had already been eliminated. Karrion Kross holds AJ Styles' leg. Sheamus goes for the bro kick on AJ Styles, eliminating AJ Styles and costing him the match, thanks to Karrion Kross. And Karrion Kross looked at him and pointed at him and said, "This isn't over. This isn't over." Which, first of all, I don't know why this rivalry is even happening to begin with. I don't know where it came from. It just happened out of the blue. It was just one night on Monday Night Raw. They were like, all right, Karrion Kross versus AJ Styles. And next thing you know, it turned out to be a pointless brawl. By the way, what the hell happened to the Viking Raiders and Chad Gable and Otis rivalry? Maybe that ended in the Viking rules match. I could be wrong, but I feel like that kind of segued away. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't know. But it says right here, this was an above-average battle royal, especially in the final 5 to 10 minutes. Knight winning was the right call, especially judging from the crowd's response. They gave it a B+. They did, before the battle royal, they showed us a short video package of battle royals throughout the years, which makes it seem more important, which is really cool. They packed a lot of people in the ring as well. It looked like 20 people that were in that damn ring easily. Tommaso Ciampa also had a nice run of eliminations before Bronson Reed took him out. So, but the notable part here, LA Knight won it. He got over like Rover, and man, that guy is just absolutely amazing. I love LA Knight. Push him to the moon and back to the moon once again, because that man is going over. How did he become from Eli Drake to Max Dupree to LA Knight? Yeah, you're damn right. Who's playing the loud music outside? Okay, anyway, that takes us to our next match: Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey, an MMA rules match. Am I the only one that was kind of hooked up, like hyped for this match? Like, I really I liked it, but I didn't. Rumor has it that they wanted to do it their own way, but WWE had other ideas. They were like, listen, we're gonna do it our way. Yeah, my guess is that their way was to do it legit MMA, which is basically what they were doing here, was an MMA match. They came out dressed in their MMA attires, MMA-like style, and it felt like an MMA match in a way. But the winner of the match was Shayna Baszler. She made Ronda Rousey pass out. But yeah, not much really to this match. I mean, there was quite a few kicks and punches and all that, and you guys know the deal with MMA matches. I know at one point Shayna Baszler was in the corner being attended to by doctors to see if she was okay to keep going, which in an MMA match, I'm pretty sure that doesn't happen. So, and of course, before the match started, the referee, the camera guy was in the ring. He was pointing at the referee and and Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey, and he was explaining the rules. You can hear it clear as day. There's no pinfalls, no submission, no pinfalls, no countouts. I'm not sure if he said no disqualification, even though it didn't matter because it's MMA rules. But yeah, like I said, Shayna Baszler got the win. She hooked up the Karafuda clutch. Ronda Rousey passed out. That was the end of the match. Pretty cool match. They give it a B-. I'm very happy that Shayna Baszler won this match, because now we can push her to the moon. Probably not like LA Knight, but we can push her straight to the moon. So that's pretty good. Let me see. The crowd did not seem very excited during their entrances, which was a little surprising. This was a notable moment, by the way. And another one they have here is, for some reason, Rousey's usual entrance music just didn't feel right. It didn't fit the vibe of the match. It was smart to have Baszler come out second because her theme was a little on the harder side. I think I understand what they're saying when they say that. It just felt like a wrestling match, and I'm sorry, this is the neighbor outside is playing loud music, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. But yeah, I'm glad Shayna Baszler won that, but rumor has it is that Ronda Rousey's gonna be taking time off of WWE. I don't think it's her last match, but I know she will be taking time off for a while, probably to spend time with family or to recover. It could be anything, honestly, but best to her. Anyway, that takes us to the next match, the Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Now, guys, I actually missed this match. I had it on. I had an earbud on, but I was actually driving home during the match. So basically, the entire match, I was driving home, and I had the earbud in. I was hearing here and there, but all I can tell you is that Gunther retained the title. Okay, I got a text message. Sorry. Geez, I think I gotta move somewhere else. This music is getting a little annoying. Just give me 1 second, guys. I gotta get a water too. I'll be right back. All right. Well, I moved this to the living room. I'm now in my living room here. Just sorry about that. There's a lot of noise going on out there. They're playing loud music, and we've got some construction work going on in my property here. So anyway, back to the Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. So like I said, I was driving home during that match. So I did miss pretty much the whole thing, but I did watch like little bits here and there. Like I kept looking over every now and then. So I am gonna read like probably a good portion of this. Honestly, probably almost the whole thing, just so you guys can get a general idea what happened. So the Intercontinental Championship was on the line, obviously, against Drew McIntyre, Gunther being the longest reigning champion. It's a very good thing that Gunther retained, and I'm going to explain to you after I explain the match. So, obviously for Gunther, it wasn't just putting the title on the line. It was about his historic reign. He's almost about to surpass Honky Tonk Man's record. Can you believe that? The longest reigning Intercontinental Champion is the Honky Tonk Man. You probably don't even believe that. But look it up. It's a real thing. His record is actually, I believe, September. I believe is his record. I believe that's when his record is going to be broken. But I'm not sure. I think it's September. I'm pretty sure it's. I think it's at Payback. Where I think it's the night after the Payback pay-per-view is where he'll beat the record, or he'll tie the record, I think. I'm pretty sure he'll hold it by then, but I'm pretty sure he's probably going to lose it maybe at WrestleMania. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Him losing it to Sheamus. And I say Sheamus because Sheamus has never won the Intercontinental Championship, and that would be really nice to have Sheamus win it. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. We got some construction workers here working on the apartment complex, but anyway, the two powerhouses stared each other down for a long time before locking up. McIntyre scored the first knockdown, and Gunther made sure to take note. He responded by bringing the challenger down in a headlock. It took them a while, but once they started throwing chops, they were swinging for the fences. You could hear the impact of each hit and almost feel the welt forming on the Scott's chest. So I can imagine this match was really good because it's Drew McIntyre and Gunther. Duh, they're two big men. It's a big man versus big man match. Like, look at their WrestleMania performance. It was absolutely second to none. It was beautiful. These are two guys who pride themselves on their physicality, so this was an aggressive fight from start to finish. Both worked hard and got the crowd to wake up a bit. Gunther kicked out of the Claymore, and once he recovered, he hit McIntyre with a few big moves, followed by the powerbomb, his signature powerbomb, I assume, for a clean win to retain his title. They rated it a B+. Apparently, McIntyre's entrance felt incomplete without his usual pyro. I'm surprised he didn't have pyro. The Scotsman's chest turning red almost immediately after the first chop, and Gunther is so great at adding little facial expressions between moves. He makes you believe in his character's motivations. But yeah, it seems like it was a cool match. Like I said, I didn't get to watch it. I do apologize for that, but I didn't get, I thought it was pretty cool to hear that this was a good match. Thank God, because this was one of the matches I was really looking forward to, but unfortunately I couldn't watch it. I was driving. I can't watch and drive at the same time. Anyway, that takes us to our next match. So Gunther retains. Takes us to our next match, which is the rest of the matches I ended up watching as well, as well as the other ones as well. The only match I missed, like I said, completely was the Gunther and Drew McIntyre match. I had gotten home. When I had gotten home, I believe it was after the Gunther and Drew McIntyre match, so I did get to watch Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, which is up next for the World Heavyweight Championship. I honestly thought oh yeah, I forgot. Before I get to this match, I forgot I was gonna say Gunther. I was gonna talk about Gunther's reign. So, oh wait, I already did talk about it, saying that he should beat Honky Tonk Man's record. Yeah. So I was gonna honestly say that at the end of talking about the match, but I never ended up doing it anyway. So, but that's why I think Gunther should retain the title until WrestleMania, lose it to Sheamus, and Sheamus can finally be a Grand Slam champion. And yeah, but I heard that Sheamus was gonna end his career after he's a Grand Slam champion, but that could lead you to believe that he might get it later on down the line in his career. But who to dethrone Gunther than Sheamus, honestly, or LA Knight? I wouldn't mind LA Knight either, but I think a World Heavyweight Championship should be the focus for LA Knight. But then again, there are rumors saying that Gunther could go on to face the World Heavyweight Champion, whoever it is at that point at WrestleMania, and even win it. But that kind of ruins the whole thing of Gunther winning the Rumble and going to WrestleMania and beating Seth Rollins or whoever the World Heavyweight Champion is. If they do that, then maybe LA Knight can win the Money in the Bank and actually successfully cash in. I mean, I wouldn't mind that, but then again, the Money in the Bank is to get people over, and LA Knight's already over. I'm pretty sure I've discussed this already, but LA Knight is already over like Rover. Like, need I say that anymore? Anyway, enough with the Gunther match. Continuing on here, Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. Here we go. Now we're going to talk about this match. I honestly thought Finn Balor was going to win this match. I really, really did. I had high hopes for it. He should have won it, but it is what it is. He didn't win it due to some shenanigans. Now Finn Balor came out first. He came out with his, I thought he was going to come out maybe surprising us all with the Demon, but I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So he comes out and he has his signature jacket, whatever his outfit, and he opens up his jacket a little bit, and you can see in painted on his right shoulder the word 7, and basically that signifies 7 years ago at SummerSlam. Finn Balor was injured, but he won the Universal Championship but had to relinquish it the next night. So that was the reference of the 7 written on his shoulder. While Seth Rollins made an entrance, he came out to the same vest that he wore at that same SummerSlam. So both of them throwing nods at each other for that SummerSlam night, and eventually in the match too, I'll explain the buckle bomb or whatever onto the apron, not the apron, the barricade. They basically redid the spot. Instead of Seth Rollins hitting him with the powerbomb on the barricade, it was actually Finn Balor who threw him into the barricade. But let me get into the Finn Balor Demon situation, why I thought the Demon maybe could have came out, and what my thoughts are on that. So, if Finn Balor were to come out as the Demon, he would have to win the match. And I'm going to tell you why. He would have to win the match. Number one, because it would have been pretty fitting, because he was the Demon and he beat Seth Rollins as the Demon. And there could be some doubt that the regular Finn Balor could beat Seth Rollins, but maybe the Demon can. But it ties into why he had to win it. He has to win it as the Demon, because last time I checked, was it the 2 times that he's been, the last 2 times that he was the Demon, he lost. He lost to Edge at WrestleMania, and the last time he was the Demon before that, I don't remember, but I think he lost that match too. And imagine if he came out as the Demon at SummerSlam and lost that as well. Then the Demon would already officially be buried, as it already, I think, is. I'm not saying the Demon has to be undefeated, but what I'm saying, because then that kind of ruins it. Like, let's say Finn Balor comes out as the Demon. Oh, okay, he's going to win it for sure, and it's guaranteed because he came out as the Demon. So I'm not going to say, so for that reason, I'm not going to say that the Demon should always win. But if he were to come out as the Demon and lose again, then that would bury the Demon. It would make it pointless to bring back the Demon. But he didn't. He brought back he just came out as regular old Finn Balor. He had the 7 painted onto his right shoulder. But let me go ahead and explain the match. So it was pretty back and forth, honestly. Both men came into the ring looking focused, but the Visionary was more vocal in his confidence. The Finn Balor gained the upper hand and immediately began focusing his offense on Rollins' left arm, almost like he was trying to get revenge for the injury he suffered at Summerslam in 2016. The pace was methodical for the first few minutes as Balor punished the Visionary with anything he could think of that would put more pressure on his arm. They treated this more like a marathon than a sprint. If these men were 10 years younger, this would have been a spot fest. This time, they focused more on the story and using their history to their advantage. They did an excellent job using callbacks and added to the drama. Here's where the shenanigans come in. Damian Priest comes out with the briefcase. Everyone's like going, whoa, here comes Daniel Bryan. Here comes Damian Priest with the briefcase. People thought he was going to cash in. Finn Balor's looking at him like, hey, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Why are you interfering in this match? Whatever. And he hit Rollins at one point with a cheap shot with the Money in the Bank briefcase. The referee didn't see it. Balor hit a pedigree, but failed to get the 3 count. And then eventually Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio came out because Damian Priest had called them out. They were like, he was waving his hand like, hey, come out, come out. And the commentators were like, oh, who is he waving to? What do you, Corey Graves, who do you think he's waving to, man? Who do you think he's trying to call out? Obviously, Rhea Ripley and Dominic had to come out. Why wouldn't they? They showed up and distracted the ref, but the Irishman didn't want to use Priest's briefcase to cheat. So Finn Balor did not want to use Priest's briefcase to cheat, allowing Rollins to hit a stomp for a 2 count. So eventually, Seth Rollins fought off both Priest and Dominic Mysterio, and he also kicked out of the coup de grace. He used the briefcase Priest left in the ring to hit the stomp and win the match. All was done well and planted the seeds for a potential Judgment Day breakup. So what had happened, basically, I don't know if you heard any of that, but I'll read it again just in case you didn't hear. So I have the habit of putting my finger above the speaker, so let me just read it again just in case you didn't hear it. But the Visionary fought off Priest and Dominic Mysterio, and he somehow kicked out of the coup de grace, and eventually Priest threw the Money in the Bank briefcase inside the ring. My assumption was that he was intended to give it to Finn Balor to hit Seth Rollins with it, but as Finn Balor was crawling to go grab it, Seth Rollins hit a curb stomp onto the briefcase, and he got the 1-2-3 over Finn Balor. He retained the title. The match was graded A. And of course, the fallout to this was a potential Judgment Day breakup. By that, I mean Finn Balor leaving the group. Or at least maybe a Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, maybe at Payback. Maybe that would be pretty cool, because the name Payback, I can get Payback. Payback's a bitch, I don't know. Eventually, we will see Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. However, I'm going to give you a reason why Finn Balor should have won this match. He should have won the match because, one, he gained back a title that he never lost. He had to relinquish it, let's remember that. Or at least he gained back a World Heavyweight Championship, at least. Not the Universal Championship exactly, but he gained back a world title, which that's all that matters. But number two, the story behind that. Like, imagine that. Finn Balor were to win the World Heavyweight Championship and his partner Damian Priest holds the briefcase. Can you imagine that? And Damian Priest teases a cash-in on Finn, and just imagine that. And it would have made it so, and Damian Priest maybe would have cashed in on Finn Balor if that were the case, and actually beat him, and he would have came out and said, listen, the reason why I cashed in on you is because Roman Reigns, he's a little impossible right now to beat, so, and you're much easier, so, and for a World Heavyweight Championship, it was an easy dub for me. I feel like that's something they could have done. Should have done, could have done, didn't do, but hey, this will lead to Finn Balor versus Damian Priest, I'm pretty sure, eventually down the line. Maybe JD McDonough will fill in Finn Balor's spot, even though he got eliminated early on in the Battle Royal earlier in the night. But man, this was cool. I do like the potential breakup between the Judgment Day. I love the heat that Dominic Mysterio gets. Am I the only one that really loves Dominic Mysterio only because of the heat that he's getting? And every time he talks and the crowd just boos him out of the building, it's so hilarious. So it was a decent match overall. I thought it was pretty cool. It was back and forth. But man, it was cool, and it was also cool to see that same spot from 2016 where Seth Rollins threw him, Finn Balor into the barricade. However, this time, Finn Balor threw Seth Rollins into the barricade. So, luckily that didn't injure Seth Rollins as far as I know. But yeah, that kind of segues Finn Balor away from Seth Rollins, and it should segue Damian Priest into this, because now I feel like what's going to happen here is Finn Balor's gonna cost Damian Priest of the cash-in. I feel like that's what's going to happen, and eventually it'll lead to a match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. One of the construction workers was talking to the neighbor across the hall. They're getting rid of a bunch of trash that's in the basement, and I'm assuming they went to go ask them if anything down there was theirs to get it out, because they were going to get rid of it. But anyway, hopefully that didn't interfere with the podcast. But that brings anyway. So I think Finn Balor will cost Damian Priest of the Money in the Bank briefcase, of the cash in. But at the same time, I feel like Damian Priest should win it because he does deserve it. He's been putting in the work for a while. But that takes us to our next match, and this gets pretty interesting. Let me go in the kitchen for this because there's a lot of noise going on in the hallway. I know it's a pretty bad time to upload this, but thing is that I'm looking after this to start packing a little bit. If you guys don't know, I could be getting another apartment, but I'm still waiting for approval, but I figured I could at least get a head start a little bit on packing some stuff just in case if I do get the approval. Now great. I go to the kitchen, there's beeping outside. I go to the living room, there's construction workers. I go to the game room, there's people playing loud music. There's no win, man. There's no win. Anyway, that takes us to the triple threat match with Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair for the Women's Championship. And spoiler alert, none of them won. Not any of them. Well, Bianca Belair won it for maybe about a minute. And I will get into just why in a second. I'm pretty sure it's obvious at this point, why she only lasted a minute as a champion. So this was a really cool match. I'm not going to lie to you. By the way, they graded this a B+. I think it should have been an A-. I don't know. Am I the only one that thought that this was a cool match? Only because Bianca Belair was injured in the middle of the match. Charlotte Flair threw her over the top rope. She hit her knee as hard as a rock onto the steel steps, and she was crying outside of the ring, holding her knee. She was in so much pain. The doctors came out to tend to her. Eventually, they took her and carried her in her arms. She was limping to the back. All of a sudden, she sees that Charlotte Flair had the figure eight locked onto Asuka. She waddled her way and crawled her way back to the ring, went to the top rope and did a 474, 589 splash off the top of the top rope on top of Charlotte Flair. This match was just so cool. Am I the only one that thought that? Like, it was such a cool match. But I definitely grade it, I would say maybe an A minus, maybe a B at the lowest, honestly. A B plus, maybe not a B plus. But eventually, Bianca Belair hit the KOD. Let me see. Was it the KOD she hit to end the match? Let me see. Let me read through it first. I don't remember if she put her in the or she did the KO. I know she did the KO. I think she just barely got the KOD in. I don't remember. Let me see here. So the sole women's match on the card preceded the main event. So this was the match before the main event, and I can't wait to get to the main event. I don't need to read all that. All three circled each other, missed some kicks, trying to be the first to land a strike. Asuka struck first, but Belair and Flair ended up in the ring alone a few moments later. It basically played out like most triple threat matches. They would take someone out of the equation for a while so the two could pair up, and then they would have a short sequence with all three before they cycled someone else out for a bit. All three competitors did a good job, and the chemistry they had built up with each other was apparent, with each combination of opponents. Wait, that's a period. Sorry, I thought I kept going. Nobody seemed to have a clear advantage, so it felt like anyone could win at this point. So it was a back and forth between all three of them. Listen to me. The last person I would have expected to win was Bianca Belair. And the last person that I wanted to win was Charlotte Flair. I'm telling you right now. Just a heads up. Just an FYI. Just a heads up. And the only person I expected to win was Asuka. But I completely forgot somebody else in which they won the championship. Because, yeah, I completely forgot that the Money in the Bank even existed, apparently. Belair hit the steel steps with her knee after being dropped out of the ring, which I already established this. 450 splash, that's what it was. The Queen put Belair in the figure eight, but Asuka spat in the mist in her face to break it up. Yes, I remember this. So, Charlotte Flair had the figure eight. She was, of course, doing the upside down thing, like kind of like the Bray Wyatt thing that Bray Wyatt does. You know, she's upside down. Anyway, Asuka slips into the ring. She spits the mist in her face. That takes Charlotte Flair out of the equation. The EST rolled the Empress up for the pin to become the new women's champion. Oh, no, it was actually a surprise roll-up. What Simon Miller likes to call the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. Bianca Belair is the new women's champion. And this is when I thought, okay, this was the last person I expected. And I can imagine why they did this. But man, through an injury, she overcame the odds. But all of a sudden, who decided to come out and cash in her Money in the Bank briefcase successfully? Io Sky. Io Sky comes out. Her music plays. She comes out with Bayley running to the ring as fast as they possibly could. Basically, the Empress, EST rolled up the Empress, become the new champion. The new champion celebrated with Bayley as the... Oh, wait a minute, I'm too far now. Io Sky and Bayley ran down and attacked everyone. They used the briefcase, by the way. Sky cashed in and hit a moonsault to get the pin and win the title. Really cool to see that. And I think they didn't put the title back on Asuka or made her retain, because I feel like if they made Io Sky pin Charlotte Flair or Asuka, or maybe I should say, you never know if she could have pinned both, right? I feel like that would have buried them. Maybe that's why they didn't do that, because they felt like it would have buried the two. But then again, if that were the case, you're burying Bianca Belair, you know, so... But hey, we had two new champions tonight. It was Bianca Belair and then Io Sky cashing in. So Asuka had the coolest dark mask yet for her entrance. WWE had Belair to do product placement for C4 energy drinks during her entrance. So yeah, Bianca Belair was drinking a C4 energy drink. I crap you not. I was literally in the shower, taking a shower as I was watching this at the same time. I had the shower curtain peeked open a little bit so I can watch the pay-per-view. I basically showered through all the entrances. By the time I was done, I rushed to get the shower done, by the way, but by the time I was done, the entrances had stopped and the match had started, so I was able to watch the match. Pretty cool match. I would have given it probably a B, maybe an A minus. But that takes us to, I was going to say the main event, but man, I wonder what's going to happen to Bianca Belair now. I think she's going to go out with an injury, but who knows? Maybe, I also thought maybe they did this last minute because Bianca Belair, maybe she really did injure herself and they didn't want her to relinquish the title the next night because then it would have all been pointless. So maybe they were like, Io, go cash in right now. Get out there, go cash in right now. Who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. I probably am. Maybe this was all part of the plan. Maybe this was a fake injury. I don't know. It seemed like a real injury. But if it is a real injury, hopefully she recovers quickly. That takes us to our main event. And boy, I cannot wait to talk about this one. A lot of people are not happy with this one. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And before I even get into this, guys, Jey Uso was not going to win it. I knew that from the start. And I knew it when the match ended. Jey Uso was not going to win it. He was going to get the same energy. Well, I shouldn't say the same energy, but the same. It was going to have the same feel as Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at the Elimination Chamber. And I'm not saying the same feeling because Sami Zayn versus Roman was in Sami Zayn's hometown, so that the crowd erupted for that. But it had that kind of mentality like, you know, Jey Uso could pull off the impossible. Like the little guy could pull off the impossible against the big guy. And that's kind of the mentality this had. And a lot of people thought Jey Uso was actually going to dethrone Roman Reigns. But, spoiler alert, he was about to, but he didn't. So this was a tribal combat rules match. So basically a no disqualification match. Anything goes. Tables were used. Every chair on the quoting from Simon Miller. I watched the ups and downs review for SummerSlam of his, and he mentioned every chair on the planet was brought into the ring. Almost reminded me of the ECW days when they threw all the chairs in the ring. Very ironically, because Paul Heyman was obviously by Roman Reigns' side, so that's pretty cool. Maybe who knows? Maybe he was poke, nudge at ECW. I don't know. God knows. But they were planning Jey Uso was planning a top rope maneuver onto those chairs, but then Roman Reigns countered it and threw him into the chairs, and it was a pretty violent match. But eventually Solo Sikoa got involved. He tried putting Jey down, and everybody. And I thought my prediction for this was that Jey was not going to win, but Jimmy was going to come help him against Solo and Roman, and Roman was going to retain the title. But if Jey were to win the title, then I predicted that Jimmy was going to help him anyway. We did tease a Solo Sikoa Roman Reigns feud here. So basically, Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns were setting up to do the Samoan Spike spear thing that they do. But all of a sudden, when Roman went to go do the spear, Jey Uso pulled out of the way. Roman Reigns speared Solo Sikoa, and that led to eventually Solo Sikoa getting up. He looked at Roman Reigns with an angry face. Eventually, Jey Uso, I believe, super kicked him in the process, put him through the announce table by jumping on top of him, just like he did to Jimmy. That took out Solo Sikoa for the moment. Or was it for good? I think it was for good that he took him out. But anyway, Jey Uso goes for the spear. He goes to the top rope, which, by the way, earlier in the match, he also went for the spear and for a near fall. So Jey Uso spears Roman Reigns. 1, 2, kick out. The second time that this was pulled off, Jey Uso spears him. He goes to the top rope. He does the frog splash. The referee hits 1. The referee hits 2. And the referee was literally about to hit 3. All of a sudden, a guy in a black hoodie pulls Jey Uso out of the ring. And immediately I knew who it was. It was so unfortunate for me to say it, and it was unfortunate that I knew immediately who it was. I can tell because of the sneakers and because of the build of this guy's body. Who pulled Jey out from the pin of Roman Reigns? I feel like he should have never revealed this, but it was Jimmy Uso. Jimmy freaking Uso. And a lot of people predicted this was going to happen. That Jimmy Uso was going to turn on Jey. And that was something I never thought was going to happen. Because I figured, they're like the Road Warriors. Like the Legion of Doom, I don't think they've ever feuded with each other, to be honest with you. But it happened. Jimmy Uso pulled Jey Uso out of the ring from the count. Jey was just beside himself. He was just like, whoa, like, what are you doing? Like, brother, what are you doing here? Like, why are you doing this? And all of a sudden, Jimmy super kicks Jey. Eventually, Roman Reigns spears Jey Uso through the table that was set up in the corner of the ring. 1, 2, 3. The match was over. Roman Reigns retained the title. Roman Reigns walks away with the title with Paul Heyman. And Jimmy and Jey Uso, they're just, Jey is just beside himself, and Jimmy, I don't know where Jimmy had went, but Jey was just beside himself. And I heard that at the end of the show, Jey Uso was in the ring bawling his eyes out, and it's so sad to see this, but obviously this is probably going to set up a match between the two at Payback, potentially ending this rivalry at WrestleMania. But this was a really good way to segue the Usos away from Roman Reigns. So now Roman Reigns can focus on other people. And the bloodline, like the bloodline story with Jimmy and Jey leaving the bloodline, they can basically separate. And a lot of people are saying that the bloodline stuff is getting stale. Guys, there's only one guy left, and it's Solo Sikoa. Eventually, Solo Sikoa is going to turn on Roman Reigns, and we're going to have Solo versus Roman. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. I can promise you, hell, it might even happen before the end of the year, if I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like that's what's going to happen. It's going to happen before the end of 2023. But at least now the Usos have their own rivalry now going on, and Roman Reigns can go and focus on other things. So now that's out of the way. So now Roman can focus on Solo Sikoa and their rivalry that is probably going to happen. And Jimmy and Jey can do their own thing as well in a match together. And it's cool that they're doing this because Jimmy and Jey, they've always wanted to face each other. And we're finally, I'm 99% sure we're going to see that now. I'm pretty sure the last match between the two are going to be at WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure they're going to book it where Jey wins a match, Jimmy wins a match, and then eventually Jey probably wins the match again, and then they both shake hands, they both team up again, or I don't know. But they both dreamed about one day facing each other. And I think Jey's got the win with that because the main event Jey. But this storyline makes sense because it's going to make Jimmy, because Jimmy was jealous of Jey. That's what I'm assuming that this is about, is that Jimmy is jealous that Jey is main event Jey. What about main event Jimmy? You know what I mean? Like, why not push Jimmy? Like, what's wrong with Jimmy? Everybody loves Jimmy. Just like Sami Zayn on SmackDown one time said. Who doesn't love Jimmy? So yeah, hopefully that segues to that. Hopefully at WrestleMania we will get Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes finally finishes the story. And of course there are multiple chapters to this story, and I'm pretty sure Cody Rhodes is going to enter into the next chapter. Who's it going to be with? I don't know. I'm pretty sure Cody's going to come out tonight and be like, hey, I'm going to finish the story, and then someone's going to come out, and that's going to start another rivalry, and next thing you know, Cody Rhodes is on SmackDown with the WWE Championship. I feel like that's what's going to happen, but let me go into the match here. I'm going to read the match. By the way, Roman Reigns took forever to get to the ring. I could have literally drove to Pennsylvania and came back, and he still would have been coming to the ring, honestly. It took forever. His entrances are getting longer and longer by the pay-per-view. It was honestly longer than The Undertaker's entrance, if I'm going to be honest with you. Undertaker takes forever to get to the ring. But it's really cool, though, how that... But there's a difference between The Undertaker's entrance and him taking forever to get to the ring versus Roman Reigns, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The Tribal Chief grabbed the mic and told the crowd to acknowledge him, and Jay tried to prepare mentally for the fight by looking at any other direction but his cousin's direction. Reigns told Jay that if he won, he would personally hand over his ceremonial neckwear, which I think is called a leia or something like that. They locked up and Reigns made a clean break in the corner. They shoved each other but didn't engage further. After the Tribal Chief spent a few minutes in control, Jay began to show some life. He tried to use the table, but Reigns stopped him before he could and regained the upper hand as the crowd started chanting Jay's name. Roman grabbed the kendo stick and started teeing off on his cousin as Paul Heyman kept yelling tribal combat over and over. Also, to add to this, Paul Heyman was also pleading with Jay, saying, "This is your family, don't do this, stop doing this, stop fighting each other like this. You guys are family." And I thought it was really cool to add that. But I feel like, and by the way, the breakup with Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman, I feel like, which is bound to happen as well, I feel like maybe Brock Lesnar is going to get involved in this and be like, listen, what happened to you? You used to be the owner of the ECW, and now you're kissing ass to Roman Reigns, you know? And I'm not saying he's going to kiss ass to Brock Lesnar again, but I'm pretty sure if the rumors are true about Brock Lesnar retiring at WrestleMania 41 in his hometown of Minneapolis, Minnesota, then I'm pretty sure that they might coexist one last time, Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. And obviously, who better to induct Brock Lesnar one day into the Hall of Fame than Paul Heyman? Obviously, Paul Heyman's probably going to do his usual "ladies and gentlemen," thing. But yeah. Anyway, going back to the thing. So eventually, I think Paul Heyman as well will ditch Roman Reigns. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it will happen. I can tell you right now. Anyway, back to the match. Jay came close to winning with a super kick and an Uso splash, but Reigns was able to kick out. This led to Jay grabbing a chair and unloading on the Tribal Chief. He put a pile of chairs into the ring, which I already said this, but it was Reigns who used them when he hit a powerbomb for another near fall. As expected, both men did a masterful job telling their story. The match itself might not have been groundbreaking, but the way they put everything together and how they sold it is why it worked so well. Solo Sikoa showed up as they fought in the crowd and beat Jay down. Obviously, they were in the crowd brawling and shit. I actually forgot about that. Sorry. Good thing I read these things. He and Reigns brought him back to the ring and looked to have the match in hand. Reigns and Solo had a bit of tense moment that allowed Jay to spear his cousin through the barricade. And I actually have something to say about The Rock in just a minute, after I'm done reviewing this. He got his younger brother onto the announce table and put him through it before putting the Tribal Chief back in the ring. As Jay looked to pin Reigns, Jimmy Uso came out of nowhere and yanked him out of the ring. He hit his twin brother with a super kick and then threw him back to Reigns to hit a spear through a table for the win. The match was an A-. Jay did look, as it says here, notable moments. Jay looked nervous but excited during his entrance. He did look pretty nervous. He did look anxious the whole time. But before I get into The Rock, I'm going to get into Jimmy Uso. I feel like this should have been a mystery. It should have stayed a mystery. Instead of it being a mystery for 10 seconds, I feel like it should have been a mystery for weeks to build to a match. Eventually build to a match at WrestleMania. I feel like they should have done that. Imagine months and months go by and Jimmy and Jay are on a warpath, and eventually Roman Reigns brings up the fact that Jay was costed the title by some mystery man, and then they put the clues together and everything, and they say, hey, look at his figure, look at his shoes, that could be anybody. That could potentially be your brother. And then Jey Uso looks at Jimmy and they both look at each other, and then Jimmy goes, "Yep, that's right. It was me. I did it." Basically, like a Vince McMahon, like, "It was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin." I wish they could have done something like that, but we got what we got. It is what it is. But it would have the story would have been really cool if Jimmy and Jay kept teaming up. And until one day, eventually, Jimmy exposed Jay and said, "Listen, I was the one that did it the whole time because of jealousy," and that's when the rivalry would start. But it started here at the pay-per-view. We hit it dead on the target. I thought it was pretty cool. A lot of people hated on this. I didn't mind it. I don't think Jimmy is gonna go back to the bloodline. Guys, this is just to pull Jimmy and Jey Uso away from Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. That's all this is about. Jimmy and Jay are going to do their own rivalry, and Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns are going to do their own rivalry. They're going their separate ways. That's all it is. Relax, everybody. We're not going to get Jimmy joining Roman Reigns and Jay's by himself, trying to get Jimmy back on his side. And as a matter of fact, they're probably going to note this on SmackDown and be like, "Listen, I didn't do it for the tribal chief. I did it for me because the jealousy, of course, of, your main event Jay, but what about main event Jimmy, But yeah, it's just to separate the four men away from each other. Relax, everyone. This is not the end of the world. And let me get into The Rock for a minute. I thought The Rock was going to come out here. There's two reasons. One, it could set up a match eventually at WrestleMania. And two, the movie industry is not looking that great right now. I guess there's no movies being produced. They're all on strike. So that gives The Rock some decent time to actually make a WWE return. And I hope that happens at WrestleMania. But I can kind of see why it didn't happen here at SummerSlam. Because, like, how could you hold the story of Roman Reigns and The Rock until WrestleMania? Because WrestleMania is September, January, February, March. What's about 7 to 8 months away from now? How can you build this rivalry with the two? Unless The Rock were to have one last title run, potentially beat Roman, but then again, that'll defeat Cody Rhodes finishing the story when Roman Reigns should be The Rock's last opponent, to be honest with you. I honestly don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I have different perspectives on it that I think should have happened, could have happened. But The Rock will eventually face Roman Reigns. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I feel like it should have been last year, but it wasn't. I feel like I also had a prediction that The Rock would come out and cost Roman the title, or at least come out and start a rivalry with The Rock, which would, with Roman Reigns, and separate Roman Reigns from the Usos, and then the Usos could go on and feud their own way. So I feel like what I basically am saying is that if it were to happen in the events that had already happened, I think maybe after Jimmy Uso had came out and costed Jay, The Rock would have came out and stopped Jay from being pinned, and then maybe he would have rock bottomed him or something, I don't know, or distracted him. Maybe the music, maybe teasing with the music, maybe just playing the music by itself, and then Jay would win the title. Or at least maybe the music would play, distract Roman, and then distract Roman for a second, and then eventually Roman gets the win anyway. There's so many just different directions it could have gone in, but this is the direction it went in. Roman Reigns and the Usos are now separated. The Usos have their own thing going. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa have their own thing going. Let us not worry about that. Jimmy's not going to be part of the bloodline. If he is, then I don't know, man. I don't know when this storyline's going to end, but everyone's basically saying that this storyline's getting stale. I feel like at WrestleMania, it's going to be the official end. I feel like Roman Reigns is going to end it at WrestleMania. I did hear that Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman are in charge of the title run, so they get to lose it whenever they want, so God knows what's in their minds right now. Hell, Roman Reigns might hold it for another 7 years and beat Bruno Sammartino's record. I don't know, but I hope not. But I mean, I got right now on my 2K23, I've got Cody Rhodes holding the WWE Championship for 7 years now. Actually, 8 years now. So he's basically the longest reigning champion of all time. I don't want to hear it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was actually meant to give it to Seth Rollins, but it didn't work out the way I planned it to. Anyway, this isn't about 2K23. Basically, that's the end of the pay-per-view. That was the end right there. It ended right there. Roman Reigns with the title in hand. Jey Uso was beside himself. Jimmy, I don't know where Jimmy went. And Solo, I think, was knocked outside of the ring. I don't know, but something's got to happen on SmackDown. And I'll be watching it. I'll probably be watching tonight, Monday Night Raw as well. But that basically ends off this podcast. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. It was probably a little longer than it should have been, but it is what it is. Overall, I think the match gets a thumbs up. The Bleacher Report gave it an A- overall. It was a really cool pay-per-view. Can't wait for Payback as well. I'll be watching that as well. I'll be keeping up with it. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for tuning in. Below in the description of this podcast, I will be putting links in the description. One of them is for my YouTube channel for you to go check out. I don't upload on it much, but hey, it is what it is. You can check it out if you want to. But more importantly, I'm going to be putting my Facebook page, The Ape Squad. That's where I post latest episodes. Go ahead and check that out. You don't want to miss a single episode, trust me. I hope you all enjoy this again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. I'm going to see if I can start packing some stuff. And hopefully I get this apartment. Wish me luck on it, guys. Maybe the next time I make this podcast, it'll be in the new apartment. I'll let you know on that. But I do not have any more plans of making another episode until the Payback pay-per-view. So by then, I'll probably be at this apartment. I probably won't, but we'll see. Like I said, I don't have any plans at the moment for another podcast until the next pay-per-view comes up. So again, I hope you enjoy this. Make sure to check out the links below, my Facebook page. Check out latest episodes. Tell your friends, your family about me. Dogs, cats. Go to the zoo. Tell the animals that this podcast is up. I don't care who you tell. No, I just got a notification from Twitch. Anyway, see you guys next time. Hope you all enjoyed it, and peace out. See you later.